Hello, everybody. I hope all is well. I am Demetra Kaye, and again, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the African Diaspora News Channel, where you can find me Tuesday through Thursday. No, not 5, 11 a.m. Central Time. And on my own channel, you can find me Sunday through Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central Time. So again, you can find me here Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And today happens to be our Friday, right? And I'll be back next Tuesday with another great discussion with you. But while we're waiting for more people to come on, Sister Shirley, how you doing? Mike Nice, hope you're doing well. JJ Mars in the building. Today we're going to be talking about a grandma in D.C., Washington, that is, keeping it real as President Trump credits Black Americans during his Black History Month celebration. We're going to get into all of that. I've seen some of the conversation around it, but I haven't really been plugged into the internet like that today. But I can only imagine, especially the portion I'm going to show you with the grandma who, as she said, she's keeping it real. So we're going to get into all that. I promise you, we're going to have a great discussion. But also, you guys know that we have an app, African Diaspora News Channel app to be exact, where you can get on your Google or your Apple Play Store. It is a 100% Black-owned app that is for you in every way, shape, or form. Of course, you know that the mainstream media is not going to cover us like we need to be covered. So that's what Black media is for. It's important to invest in Black media, because unfortunately, we don't get the big time corporate donations or, donations from the Democrats or the Republicans, in spite of what people think. Oh, you guys are paid off by Trump. We're not. I promise you, we're not. Okay. Your girl, I got a couple jobs. Okay. So I'm not getting no big checks from Trump or any of those people. So I say all that to say it's up to us to take care of us. So for those of y'all who already have our app, we'd love and appreciate you dearly. And for those of you who do not, what you waiting on? Like I said, you got them other people's apps, Netflix, Spotify, whatever file you got, and you don't have ours. You need to look in the mirror and say, why not? Why aren't I investing in my own media, Black-owned media, right? Black-owned everything is 100% important. If you didn't know, now you know. All right. So before we get into our subject, I want to show y'all where we will be in May, and that's Columbus, Ohio, to be exact. And we're also going to be in Canada in July, but I'll have more on that later. But here you go.
Unity, reunion, parade, cookout, line dance party, backyard, barbecue, fish fry, vegan soul, Black business, food truck, networking, outdoor, concert, music, festival, celebration of the year.
It is an amazing experience. You have people from all over the country.
This is my second year attending, and they over-delivered.
So if you haven't come before, you need to come. And you know what? I'm just out here vibing.
Get tickets now at OhioBlackExpo.com.
All right. So again, you can get your tickets, please, right now at OhioBlackExpo.com. They have all types of sales and things going up to the date, which will be there May 23rd. So please come out and see us and say hello. We cannot wait to see you. So again, OhioBlackExpo.com. All right, let's get into it, shall we? So of course, every year there's this thing called Black History Month. We get February with 28 days, 29 if you're lucky, right? So there's celebrations all over the place. Of course, it seems like this year is kind of weird for some reason, because a lot of us have learned that, I guess, other people want to stake claim to it. And as I said, I didn't even know people wanted Black History Month like that. I just didn't know. So nevertheless, we'll get into more of that. But anyway, President Donald Trump had a Black History Month reception where he invited a whole host of Black folks from all over the country. And I saw Chicago flips red, right? I saw them walking up. Danny C, she had a nice little red dress on. They was all dressed in red. I said, oh, okay. So President Trump, he spent about 47 minutes or so. I watched the whole thing and I kind of took bits and pieces from it. Well, he was celebrating the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. Of course, we know that Carter G. Woodson created Black History Week in 1926, and then became a month in 1976 to highlight the accomplishments of Black Americans, and just really reinforce to us that, hey, we are something, and to kind of combat racism and a whole host of other things. So President Trump did acknowledge that it was 100th month. Now, the focus was on economic initiatives, opportunity zones, criminal justice reform, especially that he did during his first term, the First Step Act. And he had people like Scott Turner, who is now the Secretary of HUD there. He spoke a little bit, and the former Secretary of HUD, Ben Carson, he was also there. Ben Trump told Ben that you will be getting a Medal of Honor coming up. So he's like, you're going to come back here and all of that. And then, of course, he had the parole czar, Alice Johnson, who he paroled during his first term. She was into almost a 50-year or over 50-year bid for a low-level drug offense or something like that. And so when he heard of her case, and Kim Kardashian was instrumental in that as well, he was like, she's in there for that long for that? So he did pardon her. And not only that, his second term, he made her in a new position, the parole and pardon, that's what it is, pardon czar, where she looks over the pardons that come in and she says, hey, I think this, that, and the other. Now, he said in regards to her that there was a lot of people that interviewed for the job, and they went to Harvard, Princeton, and all these things. And he was like, well, what about her? Because she's been on the inside. She knows the inside. And so he created that position for her. She's a Black woman. These are all Black people that I'm speaking of. And I'm just telling you what I saw yesterday, not my opinions. I'm just telling you what I saw. All right. And so he also said that Black history is an indispensable chapter in the national story. Now, with that, you're going to hear from a couple of people, one of them being a grandma, Forlesia Cook, to be exact. Now, her grandson was 23 years old, had his life taken from him. He was shot 7 times in Washington, D.C. And she's going to tell you her story, but I'm going to show you a snippet of some of the things that I saw yesterday. So here we go.
I didn't do too bad. We happened to be here at the right time. That's all that was. But we thank God for the strength and courage and grit and devotion of Black Americans who have helped make America the most powerful country in the history of the world we now have. And you saw that with our attack a few weeks ago on Venezuela. We have the greatest military in the world. We make the greatest equipment in the world. There's nobody even close. Nearly 10,000 African Americans fought for the patriot cause in the Revolutionary War. Did you know that? 10,000, and it's actually a number, even I've heard even higher than that, helping secure our independence in every generation since, from the Buffalo Soldiers to the Tuskegee Airmen. Black Americans have stepped forward to defend the flag and to defend our country like few others, really, like few others. And you've never really been given the recognition that you should get for that. You know that, Ben? They never, I don't think a lot of people have given the kind of recognition, but everyone knows all about the Tuskegee Airmen. They were great and amazing. The Buffalo Soldiers, do you know the Buffalo Soldiers? Good stuff, right? From jazz to the blues, that you know, that you do get recognition for. Jazz, the blues, from rock and roll to rap. Black artists like Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters. I like her.
Now, before I go on with Forlesia Cook, I just want to acknowledge that he acknowledged just a smidget, right, of the accomplishments that Black Americans have contributed to this country, going all the way back to the Revolutionary War, and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that in regards to the argument over Black History Month and who it's really for. Now, I know there's a lot of people that say Trump is racist. He may be, right? I'm not saying he's not. Let's just say he is, right? But let's say he's a racist, he acknowledged just some of the accomplishments rather, that Black Americans have contributed to this country. Again, during that time, there were no immigrants here. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay, so let's hear from the grandma that's keeping it real, Forlesia Cook.
I like him too. One thing I like about him, he keeps it real just like grandma. I appreciate that because I can trust him, because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I am filled. My cup runneth over. because he allowed his constituents, his people, to come to my house to interview me, to talk about the murder of my grandson. It seemed like nobody cared. I'm an advocate for murder. I marched, I rallied, I pulled out other families in the District of Columbia that had murders and did not have answers. Ooh. We marched and we rallied, and nobody heard me, Democrats. Get mad at me. Until this Republican sent his constituents, his people out there to interview me in my home. Have you ever heard of a thing? Then they invited me twice before Congress to testify for the beautiful bill that's going to change crime in the district. If you kill somebody, okay, you take a life, you do life. Just that simple. If you do a harsh crime, you do harsh time. Just that simple. And then we need National Guard, in which we did years ago. He brought it on. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news, hating on me, because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back him off. And Grandma said it.
Okay, so but before we go on to the other stuff, she basically was talking about her story of her grandson being unalive there in Washington, D.C. due to gun violence, as I had stated before. And she talked about how the Democrats did not come out to talk to her, to see her. She talked about how she has spoken to Congress twice. Trump had somebody to go out there and hear her story. And from that, last year, he did some sort of a crime reform, something escapes my mind right now. And so from that, they have talked about crime dropping in places like DC, Memphis, and some other places. But I looked to see, how true it was in DC. So it says, based on data from early 2026 and throughout 2025, the overall crime rate in Washington, D.C. has continued to decline significantly compared to 2024, following a sharp drop that began in early 2024. So early 2024, Biden still was in office. I just want to concede that. Now it says violent crime has dropped 2 consecutive years, with 2025 seeing a reduction of approximately 26% to 31% compared to 2024. Homicides in 2025, homicides fell by 32% compared to 2024, marking a significant decrease from the high of 2023. Robberies dropped by 37% in 2025 compared to the previous year. Carjackings continue to decline with a 37 to 41% drop in 2025 compared to 2024. And property crime dropped by roughly 5% to 12% in 2025 compared to that of 2024. Now, of course, y'all know that Trump sent the National Guards. And I don't know if Buckhorse is in here, but he lives in D.C., but he sent the National Guards out there. A lot of people, I would say mostly, right? Democrats had an issue with it, but there was a lot of residents, Black residents to be exact, that took to the internet to say, hey, you know what? We welcome it because we are afraid we cannot walk down the street and a whole host of other things in our neighborhoods. And so it sounds like it's a little bit better. And these statistics came from CNN, of course, Department of Justice, the White House. So as a conglomerate of sources that said, yeah, crime rate has dropped. And it seems like it is attributed to that of the Trump administration, again, sending in the National Guards. Okay. I know that wasn't popular with a lot of people, but the residents was like, we welcome them. And Forlesia Cook was one of them. Let's continue on.
From Texas. I live in a zip code that I didn't have an opportunity to have a choice to go to school. And so when I raised my children, I wanted a better opportunity for them. And I'm so grateful to ACE scholarships and all the doors that the president is opening for education. My son was in a school that he didn't have any voice, and he found drugs in school, and he died. And so I'm here today to just show my appreciation for all the moms around the world. We have a choice now. This choice is so important to mothers. I have a child that, because I had a choice, she's in private school. She's thriving. She's thriving. She's going to be an anesthesiology nurse, and she's doing great. And ACE scholarships was a big part of that. Changing education changes everything.
Thank you, Susan.
Changing education changes everything. In my zip code, it feels like we were locked in a cage. And being locked in a cage and can't get out. And because of all of the things that you're doing for education, now we can get out and soar. Our children can have a chance to be prosperous, just like other children. And I thank you for that. This is a great opportunity. So on behalf of all the mothers all around the world, I stand here and I give you your flowers while you can still get them. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Give me a hand.
Okay, so before we go on, and forgive me, her name escapes me, but she is from Texas. Of course, she talked about her son, his demise due to drugs, and I guess he found them at school somehow. But she also talked about a lot of times because you have to go to school via your zip code or whatever it is with the school choice vouchers and things like that. She's able to send her daughter to a private school, and she's going to be an anesthesiologist, which is pretty cool, right? But we know that oftentimes in our communities, the schools are not doing well, right? A lot of times they close. I have a sister who's a school teacher, and predominantly she works in underserved schools. She's not in one anymore, but for most of her teaching career, which is almost 30 years, that's where she's worked. And, you know, she could talk about the shortfalls and things in the school. And so I don't know if those things will ever change or to just close schools, but she's speaking of that I can go and send my daughter to another school. Well, that will be more conducive for her. So she thanked Trump for that. I'm just telling you what we're seeing here, because I know some people are probably getting in their feelings in the comment section, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. And then you're going to hear roughly the end of this. Now, I should say that he acknowledged people like Mike Tyson, Jim Brown, and Muhammad Ali. And he also paid homage to that of Jesse Jackson in the beginning of his speech. So he was just talking about a whole bunch of people that he know or knew and had close relationships with and things like that. So here's the end of his speech.
Happy Black History Month, happy Black History Year, and happy Black History Century. Thank you all. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. So y'all heard him at the end. Happy Black History Forever, essentially, is what he was saying, right? At least century, I guess. So it's not uncommon. Most presidents, I think they have a Black History Month celebration every year. So he's just continuing on with that. Now, it should be acknowledged that his administration has gotten rid of a lot of things, some things in school, like certain African, this is the terms that they use, African American studies, some things within the museums. They recently took down a plaque dedicated to slavery in Philadelphia, but it sounds like a federal judge ordered that the Trump administration put it back. So I'm saying all that to say there has been some conversation around some things that Trump has done that may have been adverse to the Black community. Of course, it is said that nearly 1 million Black women have lost their jobs since Trump's administration. But there was another woman that spoke. She's a business owner. I forget where. But she's a business owner, a coffee shop or something like that. And she got up and also thanked Trump that not only was she able to keep her main coffee shop open, but she was able to open up another one on a college campus somewhere. And she's attributed that to no tips on, or no overtime on tips and things like that. So she says that her business is growing and she thanked Trump. I'm just putting that out there. So I kind of want to circle back to that of Forlesia Cook when she talked about she was thankful that Trump sent in the National Guards. Again, a lot of people did not like that. Muriel Bowser, who is the mayor of D.C., she pushed back a little bit, but then she kind of acquiesced to it. And about the guards going, doesn't sound like they're there anymore. But as I read to you, sounds like crime has dropped. Now, I want to go back to it being unpopular. People say, oh, you know, we don't want the National Guards in. And listen, I don't live there, so I can't tell people what to want and what not to want. But I could not imagine being in a situation or state of fear, wondering if my child, my grandchild, or myself, my husband, whatever it is, will get home due to the environment that is, you know, crime ridden type of thing. But I want to go back to a clip from 2017 from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, where he warned us as Black folks here in America what would happen. And this is under Trump's first term. So here we go.
Tell you something. My brothers are in bad shape. And I have warned all of you. I told you that the army was coming. I told you to get your act together and clean up your act because they're coming with a mind to slaughter us. Have I said it? Not just for a year, but for 3 decades. I have been warning you about the government of America planning a war not only with a Muslim overseas, but with black people and the nation of Islam in America. Have I not done that?
Okay. So again, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 2017, believe it's Savior's Day, where he was basically like, I warned you at the time, right, for 30 years, at least 30 years. And here we are again. That was during his being Trump's first term. He says, I'm warning you that they're coming. They didn't go, they being the National Guards then, from what I can remember, but we've heard about National Guards and let's call it what it is, democratically ran cities, right? Where the Democrats are, the blue cities. And we also vote for the Democrats the most, right? But as Miss Cook said, I didn't hear from the Democrats when I lost my grandson due to gun violence, right? In these blue cities, they know this stuff is going on. And I'm going to say this, okay? I don't feel like I need to justify, but I'm just saying I'm an independent voter. So I don't, I can go both ways. You can take it the way you want, but not that way. But the Democrats should have done what Trump did as far as, curtailing the crime. Now, how true it is, I don't know. But from what people are saying and statistics are saying, yes, that has happened. So why have they, been in blue cities, allowed Trump, as racist as he is, they claim him to be, and all these other things, why did they allow him to go do the job that they're supposed to do? And the job that we have elected them to do. Now, when I say we, I mean we as Black Americans, we vote for the Democratic Party more than any group of people. And I'm not lying, okay? These are facts. We do that, and that we grace them with our votes. They do nothing, even something as, hey, let's go in there and figure out how to get rid of crime. It's a whole host of things. We didn't just, as Black Americans, wake up, and that's not all of us, so don't mistake me in that. But our communities, we didn't just wake up and say, hey, we're just going to commit crime. That was a condition, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has talked about, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has talked about. These conditions have been made, okay? That just how it is. So with that, the Democrats, they know that we need resources. Because when there's no resources, there's no jobs. You're going to have high crime. It's just the way it's always been. It's facts, it's statistics, it's numbers, it's all of that, okay? But especially within the last administration, we saw what? We saw the Biden administration bring in a whole bunch of people, and he said he was going to do it, right? He said, the Hispanics are taking over. You guys just get used to it, okay? So we saw that happen, and they did for them what they refused to do for Black Americans. And in fact, a lot of times they put the illegal immigrants into our communities, and there was some crime that was added to the crime that was already there. So again, we need to ask ourselves, why didn't the Democrats do the job that they should have done? And a Trump should have never happened. Now, this is where we're going to get into the part about us. Are y'all ready? Okay. What I'm going to need all of us to do is not get tender, not get emotional, not point the finger or any of that other stuff, right? We're going to have a come to Jesus moment. Y'all ready? Here we go.
We have not loved our women. In not respecting ourselves, we could not show adequate respect, proper respect for our women. And so we live in a world of great pain and sorrow, great anxiety and stress, where murder, lying, stealing, adultery, abominable behavior is the order of the day, and this is not accidental. We are not born into the world necessarily to be criminals. That is not God's will. It is not God's will that we be liars and thieves and rapists and homosexuals. It is not God's will that we be fiends and berserkers and beasts in human form, but the reality is that that is what we are confronted with daily. As a mother of such children, I ask every mother and every potential mother, what burden do you bear in producing children that are a scourge to you and to the earth? How do you feel, mother, when you behold your son not sacrificing in the way of God for the benefit of humanity, but when you behold your son, your flesh, your blood, a thief, a liar, a rapist, a murderer, a drug addict, a prostitute, a lowlife, a degenerate? What does this make a mother feel? And what relationship is there to the pain of Eve because of her rebellion against the commandments of God, that she would bear her children in pain? Does this mean just that you should have pain in childbirth? No. The pain of childbirth is a natural thing, but the pain that the scripture is talking about is not the natural pain of childbirth, which leads to the joy of the birth of something new and wonderful. But the pain is that you bring forth children into the world that will one day curse you and give you, the mother, pain. Your own children make your life burdensome and miserable, and you die in pain because you have left behind you children that cannot cope with the realities of this life. Sons who are still waiting for you to give them something, though they're 20, 30, and 40 years old. Your children are born and they die, giving their parents pain. Pain to the mother, pain to the father. Pain for what reason? To show you and me that something is wrong. Something is wrong with the way we live. Something is wrong with the world in which we live. And this world came through the minds of men that have fallen short of the glory of God. And if something new and better is to come about, it must come about through men and women who are careful of the way they think, careful of the way they live, careful of the foods that they eat.
Okay. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that came from a series that you can find, and I suggest that you watch it. It is awesome. How to Give Birth to a God. I think it's like 4 or 5 parts on YouTube, but if you don't want to listen to YouTube, you can go buy the book. I got this from Amazon. How to Give Birth to a God is one of the best lectures that you will ever listen to or read, right? It's not that, big of a book, but it's one of the best things you can read now, especially to Black women. And I want to speak to us because I am one. Almost 55 years, y'all, almost. But as he said, and that's why I said we got to, let's be here and not here. That we bear a responsibility, right? As he said, he wasn't really talking about pain as far as birth, and trust me, it hurt, okay? But he's talking about what we birth once the children are here and how we decide to raise them or not raise them. Okay, he talked about the degeneracy that goes on, especially, he mentioned between mothers and sons. And of course, he went on to talk about more throughout the whole series. But I just like that particular part because I was thinking about Miss Cook in that her, grandson's life was taken through gun violence. And yes, while we can blame the Democrats, Republicans, or whoever else, we have to put some blame on ourselves. And when I say we, I'm speaking from a mother's point of view, because we have to make sure that we were raising conducive people into society. Now, it is also said that the Black woman in America is the most single mother amongst all the mothers. And it is true, right? For a whole host of reasons, whether the man is not there, whether we kicked him out the house, whether he left, but whatever it is, he's not there. Okay. Now, I also read another good book by the late, great Dr. Ava Muhammad called Weapons of Self-Destruction, a guide for women in the war against negative internal forces. And I often read, and I don't have the physical book, but I have an e-copy of it. I mean, I read this a lot when I'm traveling on the plane because it's not that long, but it's impactful. And she talks about our responsibility as women and as mothers. And one particular part of the book, I like that she said, yes, in a lot of cases, the man is not there, right? Talking to us as Black women, the man is not present, but we still have a responsibility to raise children that are about something respectable, law-abiding, and all of that. It's still our responsibility. Whether you hear mamas, baby daddies, maybe whatever it is, if the child is with us, we are spending the most time with the child. We are the circle of influence and the first teacher and all of that, regardless. And I'm not excusing the father. And neither was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and neither was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that his work was 75% with the woman and 25% with the man, because the woman, the mother, would spend most of the time with the child, at least back then, right? I don't know about now. So we have a responsibility. So in essence, we can't say, oh, well, the father's not around, so I'm just not going to raise a child that's about something. I'm just, if the daddy was around, then I'd have, I'd do better. Now, that could be true to a degree because maybe the mom was working 2 and 3 jobs or whatever and don't have the time, but there's still no excuse to have your children, your boys or your girls, running wayward and just doing God knows what, which is why in that first video, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan warned us, hey, get yourselves in check before the man, right? The white man, Trump, the orange man, whoever would do it. That's our responsibility, okay? Now, I always like to do a solution before I jump into the comment section. And hello to everybody. I'm going to try to get y'all comments today. Here's some solutions. It's not all of it, right? I don't know everything, but as I said, I have listened to this series and I have the book and all that. Again, you should get it, How to Give Birth to a God, How to Give Birth to a God. Give it as a gift to any woman that you know, whether she has a child or not, because she may have a child one day and she's going to need to know how to that. And when it says give birth to a God, how to cultivate in them God-like attributes, right? That's what we should be striving to do when we're raising children. We shouldn't be raising little demons, little hellions, and all. We should be raising gods. But first, we have to realize that what? We are a God. We are a God. And I know some people say, oh, that's blasphemy, and this, that, and that. Listen, if God said that we were created in his image, don't that make us a God, right? So we have to start walking and talking and acting like gods. And when you do that, you raise gods. Now let's get into it. Okay. Now this is just a little bit that I know for the 54 years I've been on this planet. Okay. And I'm not saying I did all this right, because I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't. So anyway, the solution is number one, we have to do proper courtship. What does that mean? You see a hot little tenderoni or whatever it is, and you need to take it to court. And this is what my dad, obviously, who was a student of the Nation of Islam since he was 19, he used to always say, you have to take the relationship to court. I need to see how your family act. You need to see how my family act, what my mind is, or how I believe. Do I believe in God? Am I lazy? Like, what type of man or woman am I? These are the things that we have to be doing when we are looking at a potential partner. Okay. And that way you can make an informed decision, because a lot of times we don't do that. We don't make informed decisions. When I say we, I mean all of us. Okay. I have my child at 21 years old. Her father was 23. So we're both young in the larger scheme of things. Now, of course, I wasn't taught to have a child out of wedlock, but I did. Okay. But I tell you what, I had one child because I learned my lesson, because it was not easy. Okay. And so let's get down to responsibility. If you make a child, this is a man and a woman. If you make a child, you have to be responsible for that child, period. There's no excuses. Well, you know, I didn't, couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't, because the problem is when they put, as my dad would say, put the white man on you, well, you know, take you to court and child support and all of that. Then it's like, well, you know, just, you know, you should be responsible up front. And responsible means, and I can't speak for men, but I can just say this. If you knock a woman up, you get her in the family way, as they say, yeah, you need to marry her. You need to make her an honest woman, because you know what? It is what it is. You liked her for the 2 minutes you was with her, and I'm going to just leave that alone, right? So we have to be responsible. And again, as mothers, we have to be responsible and, of course, take accountability for our children. If they out there doing things that they should not be doing, and take accountability for ourselves. If we're doing things we're not supposed to be doing, say, hey, you know what? I did that. Let me correct these things so that we can be on a more righteous path. Right. And then, of course, we need to be able to seek wisdom and knowledge. A lot of us don't do that. You know what a lot of us do? I know. I already know. You ain't got to tell me. Because my generation and older, you know what our biggest complaint is about the kids? Yeah, Mike, 2 minutes. Our biggest complaint about the kids is, you can't say nothing to them. They can't take advice. You try to say something, they go, I know, you don't tell me. But you know where they get it from? They get it from us. You know why? Because we have raised our children. We are in fear of our children. We scared of our children. We biting our nails off. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings and this, that, and the other. And if they say they don't want to do it, it's like, oh gosh, I don't want to make them mad because they told me no. So I guess I'll go take out the trash instead of putting a foot. Never mind, I'm getting too excited. But yeah, so we got to seek wisdom and knowledge of the older people, right? When I had my daughter, I said I was young. My daughter's father was young. I love him to death now, right? Back then, not so much. But we would fight over my daughter. Oh, I'm having her this amount of time. Oh, I'm having her. My mom sat us both down. She said, listen, because we was getting on her nerves, right? She says, no matter how much time you, because we broke up when she was like 1.5. She says, no matter how much time you spend with her and how much time he spends with her, she's always going to be 100% both y'all child. And when she said that, I was like, she's right. Now, we didn't stop fighting, but it made life easier. Okay. And then she said, I'm going to keep it real with you. You might be wanting to go do some things, so let him have her. Right. So that's the type of mom that I had. May God rest her soul and all that other stuff. Now I want to say this, just personally speaking. I have a child. She's not a baby anymore. She's in her 30s. I'll put it that way. Okay. Now I'm often asked, "Oh, do you have any grandchildren? Or how many grandchildren do you have?" And I'm like, "That's funny. Why haven't you asked me about a son-in-law? I need a son-in-law first because it's backwards." And I think we are just kind of conditioned to, I don't know, maybe just assume because I'm old with gray hair and maybe that I will have grandchildren. I don't have grandchildren yet, but I jokingly kind of, push back a little bit, ask me about a son-in-law first. And I say that to say is because while I had my daughter out of wedlock, I did not want to raise a child to do what I did because I was not born myself out of wedlock, right? So I cultivated in her that no, you ain't gonna be bringing your mama home no grandbabies unless you coming home with a son-in-law too, right? Y'all raising a baby together. I want to be a grandma for recreation, right? We going to Disneyland, Magic Mountain, all that other stuff, not out of obligation, not because you went out there and you did it the way I did it, and it was tough. I'm not gonna lie. And now you need your mama to watch the baby, while you work, which I would, right? But I'm just saying, or you want to go out and have a good time with your girlfriends. Like, girl, your good time was when you was making this baby. Okay? And your good time gonna come after you raise it, you get it off to school, and you rearrange your understanding. But see, because I know a lot of people my age, and no shade to them, who did it that way. The child went out and had babies, and they're like, "Oh, mama, I need you to watch the baby." Or the mama was like, "Oh, that's my baby. Leave that baby here." And then guess what? "Hey, mom, you're gonna be a grandma again. We having a wedding?" "Well, see what happened was," and then they take that baby. Ooh, not saying you shouldn't love the grandbabies. And then the next time, "Hey, mom, we need a baby shower. Start planning." We need to start planning for a baby shower. Listen, I would just tell you something to y'all right real quick, okay? And I would get into the comment section just real quick. You get to invite me to your baby shower, your child's baby, whoever, your baby shower one time if they are unwed, and barely that time, okay? But do not send Demetra Kaye a second or third baby shower invitation to an unwed mother or father, because I'm flat out not showing up. Because what that means is I am co-signing and rewarding degeneracy too. And I got a lot of things to be doing with my money besides giving it to a person who could have had a husband or a wife, and y'all would need to have 50, 11 baby showers out of wedlock. I got a lot of things to be doing with my money and funding that. Because I wouldn't ask you to come to my child's baby shower if she had a whole bunch of children out of wedlock. The audacity. And my Maxine Waters voice. So anyway, let me see what y'all got to say. Okay, I'm going all the way up. Oh, let me go here first. Got to go to the money first. Patrick, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for that. You say supporting the cause. Well, it is much needed and much appreciated. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, moving right along. I'm going to try to get as many people comments as I can. Jacoby, how you doing? Christopher, what's going on with you? Says she gave Trump all her black political capital. Are you talking about Forlesia Cook? We'll call her Miss Cook. I don't know if she did all of that. I think she was speaking. Listen, one thing I will say is this. I try not to tell other people necessarily how they should feel. Thank God I haven't lost any of my nieces or nephews. And by the way, not only did I raise my my daughter, I raised 3 of my nieces and nephews as well. But I'm saying that to say I can't tell Miss Cook how to feel about losing her grandson. And as she said, in such a horrible manner, and no one came to speak to her. Now, the Trump administration came to speak to her for whatever reason. Was there a motive, an agenda? I don't know. Maybe it was. But I'm not about to be admonishing that lady. It's a horrible thing to lose a child or a grandchild in such a horrible way. So, yeah, she's looking for justice. And as she said, you take a life, you need to do life. Right? So until it happens to you, and I'm not saying it didn't, and I'm not even speaking to you necessarily, we can't really, you know what I mean? So I don't know what she gave Trump, to be honest with you. DA, how you doing? You're welcome. King Noble, what's going on with you? Yasu, what's going on? It says, don't play. Okay. And I know I'm behind in these comments, so please forgive me. African Native, how you doing? Sister Shirley says, I would love to attend the Ohio Black Expo. Well, come on. Come on out. I'd love to see you. I really would. ES Official, what's going on? It says, a blasphemous granny. My granny never had to lie on God. Well, that's good. I'm glad that your granny has never lied on God. I don't know how that grandmother there lied on God. I don't know. But, you know, shout out to your grandma. And I mean that respectfully, you know, because we don't want to lie on God. Chef D Green, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Tad Bits Shabazz, what's going on? Peace unto you as well. Jamario, how you doing? Says this is a part of the head. Okay. Ayo, how you doing? Says thank you, Trump. Okay. Slick Pickens, Slim Pickens rather. How you doing? Says Queen. What? Q rather. The Bunny Ruckus song. I don't even know what that song is. Now listen, I'm not gonna lie, okay? I did watch it, the whole thing, and let me see, where's my little homie at? I did see some people who was up there. They was up there doing a little bit of this. They was, okay? I just to be 100, there were some people up there. Like, what's his name? Leo Terrell. He's the ambassador for Israel. He was, let me see. He was doing a lot of that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Live, laugh, love. How you doing? Says he cut her a check to say that crap. Meanwhile, Trump removes slavery exhibits all over the U.S. discussing all around. I don't know what he's paid that lady. I don't know if he paid her some money or not. That was not disclosed. If he did, I guess, you know, whatever it is. But Trump should have never had the opportunity to pay that lady. Okay, y'all mad at that lady? Speaking about what happened to her grandson and Trump potentially paying, I don't know where y'all got that from. See, because sometimes we just be saying stuff without no proof. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Type thing. But y'all don't have no smoke for the people who should have been going out there to see about her grandson being shot 7 times. I just don't get it. I don't get how we, and I say collectively as Black Americans, keep giving the Democrats a pass for the benign neglect. Again, I'm not saying the Republicans are even better. They out and open with how they feel about us. Like somebody said, they removed all the exhibits and things like that. But how do y'all continue to give the Democrats a pass with doing nothing, absolutely nothing specifically for Black Americans, and we vote for them the most? How do you sleep at night giving them your vote and not saying nothing, not calling them to the carpet? Like, that's infuriating to me. I don't get it. And I'm not going to lie to kick it. I used to be a Democrat. I used to do it too. But when I woke up, I said, oh, yeah, I'm helping them kick me right in my tailbone and saying, thank you. I'll see you in 2 years. So how do we do that? Yes, let's concede some things. Trump, racist. Yes, check it off. Has he done some things adverse to Black Americans? Yes, let's check that off. Great. Now let's talk about the Democrats. Let's talk about what they have not done and will not do as we speak. And I'm sorry to be yelling. I hope I'm not too loud. As we speak, you see these Democrats running around the country talking about illegal immigration is, illegal immigration that. I'm running behind ICE and I'm following ICE. And I'm catching a 17-year bid for running up in an ICE detention center behind illegal immigration. And they've said nothing about Black Americans at all. And we sit up and talk about, well, what about Trump? Damn Trump. Let's say that. Let's concede, damn Trump. Now let's talk about the people we put in office and we allow them to do that to us. See, that's the conversation I'm interested in having. I'm not interested in having the blame game. Let's talk about the people who are supposed to, the people that look like us. And they thumb their nose at us all the time and say, or again, you just show up for this fish fry next year. So I want you to be just as mad at both sides. So y'all talking about that grandma, for those of y'all who are, but you're not talking about why she's even there in the first place. She shouldn't even be there to talk about that, but y'all won't have that conversation. You know why? Because it smells like accountability. That's why you don't want to have that conversation. Anyway, let me calm down. JJ says, with Trump and the Dems is always a trade-off. Yeah, it's a pendulum. Yes, indeed. Tiffany, how you doing? Says, I'm catching this right on time. Yes, you are. D3, you say 666. What do you mean? The bridge, how you doing? It says, right. So y'all calling that lady a raccoon? Y'all don't have the resume to call that lady a raccoon. You don't have the resume to do that because you haven't stood in her shoes. So y'all like to call people names just because it's fashionable, but forget calling names. Do something about it. So that grandma ain't got to show up there and y'all would say tap dance for Trump. Do something about it. Because she shouldn't be there. She should be doing other things like, hey, grandson, how you doing? Come on over, baby. Grandma made this, that, and the other for Sunday dinner. That's what she should be doing. She shouldn't be at the White House talking about her grandson's life was taken from her due to violence in a democratically ran city that they could see and won't do nothing about. So you calling her a raccoon, I think you should watch your mouth. I'm just saying. Because I know you have a grandma. I had a grandma, and you wouldn't want her calling her somebody calling her names, and she's experienced such a tragedy. That's the kind of stuff we do to each other, but we let these people get a pass. Ugh. Woo, I'm glad it's my Friday. Gold eyes, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Maureen, what's going on with you, Black Man Rising Now? He says she said what she said. She supported the president because he earned it by helping her family, just like he did for many others. The Democrats were a no-show as usual. Yeah, but they want to have that conversation. You know what I mean? I think it's common sense. I don't even think that's partisan. It's common sense. But we're so loyal to foolishness, and I just don't understand why. I really don't. Sherman, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Global rejection. How you doing? Says the Democrats condition Black people to get used to Black destruction. I should just read y'all comments and not say another word. But you're right. Shanette, how you doing? Says, well, we said Black man riding now. I think it meant well said. Queen Adaya, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Rams, what's going on with you? Let's see. Let me just skip down. Intel inside. It says, I like that he's was centering Black American FBA. Yes. And that you heard what he said, right? That's what the man said. MJ was going on, says we already in detention centers, fool. Well, yeah. And when you say fool, I don't know who you're speaking to, but I just can see what you say. Yeah, we're in detention centers called prisons. But again, for some of y'all that ride out hard for the Democrats, have you seen LaMonica McIvers busting up into the detention centers where we are most housed disproportionately? Have you seen her do that? Have you seen Maxine Waters, trying to hop the fence to the California prison? Have you ever seen her do that? Or anywhere else? Rikers Island, Angola. Have you seen Auntie Maxine there? Have you seen her hopping outside of her black SUV? Hello, the prison's out of here. Have you seen her do any of that? No. You know why? She ain't gonna do it because she know all you care about is her reclaiming her time. That's all you care about. Not y'all, them, not them over there. Karab, how you doing? Says can't hear what he says from seeing what he's doing. Yeah, I'm not saying Trump is perfect. I'm not even here to champion Trump at all. I'm just showing you what happened yesterday. See, sometimes we got to be here and not here. I know the man is, he with the stuff. And of course, he probably laid it on thick because he or his assistant released a video of Michelle and Barack Obama looking like apes. So, of course, he's probably like, I got to get back in their good graces, right? Hugged the Block TV. How you doing? Says salute to the homie Trump. Okay, y'all homies. African Native says Trump should be talking about reparations instead of vague compliments and void emptiness. We don't eat those compliments. Yes, and I totally agree with you. And that's a point I will concede too. Is that I wish those people there at the White House that have Black people that have the ear of Trump would say, hey, since we're talking and you've acknowledged the contributions of Black Americans to this country, can you also acknowledge that payment that our ancestors didn't get? Yeah, that's what they should be doing. Everything else is cute, but we need reparations. And that's a fact. Wisdom, how you doing? Says we ain't worried about praise from PDF files. It says that where sheep's mass FBAs are focused on building their wealth in the USA and around the world, Caribbean's part of Africa, Asia, we too busy. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because that's what we should be doing, because we know anybody in that White House is not going to do anything for us. Says that of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're not. They have the same agenda. They on the same bird. Right? So we should be doing for self. We've been told to do that forever. And now with, I say Trump in office, kind of showing everybody, not just Black Americans, but everybody, how he really feel about them. Yeah, we starting to have those conversations. So yeah, that's a net positive. That's the one thing, the one that I like about the Trump administration, is that he is waking up everybody and showing us that the oligarchy, the capitalists, 1%, they don't care about nobody. If you ain't got that kind of money, King Edward, how you doing? Say they don't want these problems with us. Okay. Let's see. Jesse, how you doing? Says, I am Miss Jess. How you doing? Says, I tell you my name because of my name. Some think I'm a man. No, oh, thank you for that. He says, disrespect intended. We need more than that, Trump. So come on, you can take care of all of our needs. Thank you. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Todd, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I appreciate that. Psalm 83, what's going on with you? I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Buckhorse in the building. How you doing? How's it going in DC? I know that's where you are. Going all the way down. Rhonda, how you doing? Long time no see. Scoop, what's going on with you? Mad Dog, did I say hello to you? If not, hello. Just going down. Hello, love. How you doing? Says gods, no gods. Well, I don't know about, I'm not saying, I don't know what you're saying specifically, but I am a God. I'm not the God. Let's not get that twisted, but I am a God. I don't think that I'm anything less. See, when you believe that you're a God, then your mind starts to open up and you start acting that way. But when you're told that you're not, you not this, that, and the other, which Black Americans have been told since we were on those plantations, that we ain't nothing. Hell, we weren't even told we were human. We were told that we were less than. So yeah, they don't want us to believe that we are God's chosen people. They don't want us to believe that. So if you don't mind, I refer to myself as a God. Yes, indeed. So let's see. African Navy says, I have another 50 years on the planet, God willing. Well, I want to be here another 50 years. That's like 104. I don't know. I might. You never know. Albie, chill, what's going on with you? Miss Shantae, what's going on? It says sugar free. No, you don't. You didn't pick that up from your mama. Oh, see, you go to the school of sugar free too. If you know, you know. Ebony, how you doing? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see, skipping on down. David, what's going on? He says, right on. Yes, indeed. I say yes, indeed a lot. Y'all know what? I got that from my dad. He said, he's going on. Yes, indeed. First class citizen, what's going on with you? Good afternoon to you as well. GHJF, what's up? He says, say what you want about Trump. Trump say Black America from the immigrant invasion. Yeah, there's a lot of people. That's why a lot of Black Americans voted for Trump. And he got the most of the Black vote than any president in history. Well, in recent history, I think. But yeah, because we used to be Republicans back in the day, right? But a lot of people, Black Americans, did vote for that because immigration, illegal immigration, was a detriment to us. And we've been told that, especially by Dr. Claude Anderson, that that's not a positive for us. So, per what the Trump administration is saying now, ain't nobody coming up over the border just because they want to, right? I don't know how true it is, but I haven't heard anybody just coming through like they were under Biden. Okay. ES official says, saying what Granny said, you lying on Granny because the dead know nothing. Thank you, first class citizen, for that. Love and appreciate you. Says it's amazing that the Democrats have the audacity to criticize only Trump being in the files without talking about their members being involved. Ooh, hey, did y'all see that Prince Andrew over there across the pond? They arrested him today. I sound like a gossip, and how they arrested him today? Yeah, because of his involvement in the Epstein files. See, in them other countries, they not playing. They like, oh, you was messing with kids. We don't care if your mama was Queen Elizabeth. You're coming to jail, and his brother is the king. Crazy times. So yeah, We need to see some of that over here. Okay, skipping down, I got like 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to say hello to everybody. Granny Ball, I think I said that right. How you doing? It says the entire fiasco was disturbing and sick, and I'm not sure which fiasco that was, but Fudge, what's going on with you? JM, Clinton, what's going on? It says Trump hates us. All of this stuff he's doing is now symbolism. They all hate us. Every last one of them hate us. Trump, Obama, George Washington, FDR, Biden, Clinton, Bushes, they all hate us. Are you surprised by that? They all hate us. Do you love a person or people that you put on plantations and do all those horrible things, Jim Crow, the mass incarceration, all the crack in the neighborhood? Do you love a people? Because that happened through all the presidencies, right? They all hate us. Because you know who hates us too? Us. See, when we start loving us, none of that stuff matters. I don't care if you hate me. I personally don't care who hates me. You know why? Because I love me. I really do. So when we start loving ourselves, we don't care. Because when you love yourself, you start operating and doing the things that you're supposed to do to have your, communities and stuff thrive. That's what love does. It has to start and end with love. Without love, it's just wishful thinking. And it ain't even that. So yeah. Low key, how you doing? You say, how no one want to talk about religion that took place in slavery? Slaves, be obedient to your master. Oh God, we ain't got time for that. And I try to stay out of that because that's a touchy situation. But you own to something. Anthony, how you doing? It says it's easy to use people who are hurting and in need. All the jobs for folks have dropped dramatically. We getting played on both sides of the fence. Well, yes. But how about we have a conversation about creating our own jobs? Which a lot of people are doing. I'm hearing about a lot of Black women who lost these jobs. They're starting to create their own jobs. And I know people who have started to create their own jobs. So let's have that conversation because as Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if they could take it from you, was it ever really yours? So yeah. Lily, I hope I said that right. How you doing? He says nothing at all. And Tyrone, what's going on with you? The Poetic Sam, how you doing? And I can't read all y'all comments. I wish I could. Suja, what's going on? And thank you so much. I love and appreciate you for that. Every bit helps. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and all the wonderful things that help this channel grow. As I said, if you get married, I will dance at your wedding because I do like to dance. Michael Muhammad, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Derek, what's going on with you? Am I that far behind? Adam, how you doing? And of course, I'm not going to beat the comment section because you guys have beat me once again. Thank you. Once again, first class citizen, you say, who wouldn't be thankful after being pardoned when being wrongfully persecuted and incarcerated? Did Obamacrats or Biden pardon him? No. In fact, Obama rather had the opportunity to pardon Alice Johnson, and he did not. The Black president, the Democrat president, told her no for a low level drug offense. She's looking at doing about 50 years plus. And the first Black president outside of Clinton told her no. So I just want to put that out there. But thank you. Yes, indeed. So listen, y'all. Chris, how you doing? I would love to get to everybody's comments. I apologize to nobody what's going on. I'm going to get out of here. But listen, it has been my pleasure this week. I will be back next week, Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time, and my channel on Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time, where I sit with my good friend, Mr. Donovan Sadiq. But please stay tuned for all of the wonderful content that will be going forth on this channel as we work so hard to bring you the news that you can use. Again, get our app if you haven't already done that. It is going to help us grow and to not be as dependent on these platforms because these things are borrowed. They're not ours because what? If they could take it from you, it was never really yours. Peace. Love y'all dearly.